Waiting for you guys in Nicaragua soon.
Hopefully pretty soon.
Yes,
Hopefully
yes,
pretty soon.
we hope.
Sooner in Vegas during GIP.
All right, all right. Wonderful people. We just went live on Facebook. Good evening, one and all. Yet again, another Light 'em Up live session. And I'm so excited. I've been so much looking forward to this one because it's a tremendous honor and pleasure to welcome Nestor Andres Plasencia with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Nestor, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for being on the show. For all of you guys, as always, we keep this very fun and interactive. We want to have all your questions, your comments. If you're here at the lounge, please put your questions into the chat box or use the raise your hand function so I can bring you in. For all the wonderful people joining us through Facebook, we are live on the Cigar Journal page, we're live on Reinhard Pohoret's page, and the Light 'em Up one. Please put your questions and your comments underneath the live video. I'm checking all the live streams and make sure to bring your questions over to Nestor Andres. So without further ado, Nestor, I mean, so much has been said about the unique history and the unique contribution the Plasencia family has made to premium tobacco and the world of premium handmade cigars. Yourself, you've been born in Esteli and grown up in Danlí, then with a unique track record of your family, more than 100 years of history in premium tobacco. Was there ever a chance that you could not have ended up in this industry and become an icon of the cigar world?
I don't think so. I think I was born to do this, and I'm very blessed. I always say that, you know, there's no other thing that I see myself doing, because I love this so much that it's amazing, and the fact that I was being able to born in this amazing family with my father, my mother, my brothers, my grandfathers, great grandfathers, and all the people. You know, I don't have words to describe it, how blessed I am. So the only thing that I feel that I have a big responsibility to give something good to the world for all the blessing that I have. So this is something that that it put me to work hard every day in order to do the best that we can.
Give us just a brief idea and introduction, and how does it feel like to grow up in such a unique tobacco family? And what were some of these early childhood memories of yours, or the sensory experiences and the sensory memories that you still have from those early days?
Of course, that happened almost every day. And remind me every time that I go to a cigar barn, to a tobacco barn on the fields, and I do that pretty often. Reminds me when I was like 3 years old, that I remember going with my grandfather to the farms, and he was opening the door, or the wooden door on the barn, and that sweet smell that I think most of you guys have smelled that in the curing barn when the tobacco is turning from green to yellow and to brownish. That is a sweet, amazing smell on the barn. So every time that I go to that barn, I remember those days. It's amazing. I remember being a child, happy, together with my father, their friends, my uncles, seeing cigars all over, the ashtrays full of cigars in my house, ash everywhere. You know, that smell, you know, that you feel with the leather and the smoky and wood, that is still here in my mind. So, you know, even though we have very hard times during those days, because we just moved from Nicaragua to Honduras to start over again. But, you know, I never feel, you know, sadness. I feel a little bit of worriness, but not sad. But I always a great mood to move forward and to try to do that. That is a stick in my mind, and all the things that, you know, my dad did in order to to put that company alive. And during those days, is still with us. So, and he said, you know, that we can never forget about those days, because those days is what make us what we are today. So, you know, that's a beautiful, beautiful memories. Even though we're moving a new country, new friends, and all that stuff, but that was great memories that I have.
And what was sort of the, like, all these smell memories, the tobacco, that feeling in your hands, was that like also a part of certainty in your life, when you say with all these changes and moving around and all the issues and even worries that you had, was tobacco and cigars sort of the calming element?
Well, I always like to be outdoors, and I always love to go to the farms with my grandfather or with my father. So I always want to be an agronomist, because I love the outdoors. I love growing things, and so there's never a spot in my mind that I want to do anything else. So that was and you know, even though it was harder, but it was nice. It was a beautiful thing to do. So those are my memories, and seeing cigars all over and that smell, it's since I opened my eyes, I think I see smoke in my life. So I'm very blessed for that. And I'm part of 154 years of growing tobacco. We're gonna be growing 155th crop this year. So you know, it's something that is in our blood, and I think the sixth generation is already it's already interesting. So that's good. But I will do the same thing that my dad did with us. He never forced us and say you have to do this, you have to do that. You're gonna do it if you're gonna love it, because this requires a lot of work, of work on the fields, a lot of work in the fermentation, a lot of work in the blending and the production, and it's a very demanding work. But I
that
love
is
it.
such an important part, right? That your family was not pushing you to, you have to get into this. Still, did you feel like you had a little chip on your shoulder, or a bit of pressure? I mean, with your family legacy comes like a lot of responsibility, right?
A lot of pleasure, a lot of pressure, my friend. I feel a lot of pressure in the sense that our generation took it everything easier than the generations before. So we don't want to be the generation that, you know, that destroyed everything that they achieved in the past. So that's a lot of pressure in our bags, but I'm not alone. So I have the blessing to work with my brothers, my sister, and an amazing group of people that is part of our team. And I can tell you that we had an amazing team working together with us, because they don't work for us, they work together with us. We work together, and I'm very blessed to have this team. It's an amazing team in the fields, in the fermentation, in the factories, and in Rodrigo is with us. It's an amazing part of the team. In Europe, we have the team in the States also. You know, passionate about the only thing that we require is passion about this, because we can learn everything else we can learn, but with passion. If you cannot teach anybody passion, if you have the passion, you have it, or you don't have it. But passion is with us, and I'm very blessed and glad that the team has a lot of passion.
How was that transition for you when you learned agronomy and in the school, and then you made that move into the family business and into the tobacco?
No, the thing is that I was when I was studying agriculture, everything that I was learning, I was trying to think how I can implement this in tobacco, because I know that I'm gonna go after graduate growing tobacco. So I was always going, and in the holidays I was working on the farms and trying to implement what I learned. And but the biggest challenge was when we started with organic agriculture. We learn about growing organic vegetables and that kind of stuff. And I think I want to do that. I want to do that in tobacco. So that was the biggest challenge, because there was very little knowledge about it. So we put a lot of time and effort in order to grow it. But I'm very pleased with the results. we're still the only company that had organically grown certified tobacco for premium cigars. So, and
There's
we
a good
started,
reason for that, right? Because it's just so challenging and so expensive.
it is challenging because it's tobacco is a very violent plant. It grows so fast, so it requires a lot of nutrients from the soil. So finding the right combination, that was a lot of work. So, and we're still learning. You know, we're still learning in every aspect, in farming, in fermentation, in manufacturing, in blending, in marketing. There's never a bored moment in this industry because there's so many things that we can learn, and that makes that so interesting. That is that you never get bored. You know, always improving, always learning, always a challenge. So when you have that, you know, that's always put your mind sharp. You know, putting your people to work, brainstorming what we can do, this and that, and everybody's part of that, and then we go forward.
How was that family reaction when you introduced the idea of organic farming to the family business?
That I was crazy. that was that was the first reaction. But I work hard, and one of the things that I love a lot of things about my dad. But one of the things that he let me do it. You know, at the beginning he said, you know, it's not that and that, but I keep pushing, and because I believe in that, and I'm very blessed that we did it because right now we're using a lot of what we learned in organic agriculture in a conventional tobacco. And right, there's going to be a lot of new rules about chemical residues and the leaves and that kind of stuff. So we are already step ahead of the game. So that was a little bit challenging that, but it's always been in, and it's still to this day. You know, one idea we have to work hard for that, and we have to prove that we did our homework, that we can make something out of that.
Nestor, since you're one of the most knowledgeable and most experienced guys in tobacco in general, give us a little more detail on these organic processes and what's really the difference and the hurdle when you grow organic tobacco versus conventional processing.
It's a fascinating process because that makes you work with biology of the soil, biology of the insects, biology of the fungi, biology of the plant, and the environment that surrounds everything. So it's a lot of knowledge that you have to see in order to accomplish what you want. But the biggest challenge that we had, the two biggest challenge was number one, nutrient, how you can feed that plant that grow that fast. And the second biggest challenge was the blue mold. Blue mold is a disease that can destroy the tobacco crop like this. So how we accomplish these two big challenge in terms of how we feed the plant. We did a lot of studies and a lot of tests. And the best fertilizer, organic fertilizer that we found was vermicompost, which is organic fertilizer made by earthworms. So you get all the crop residues in order to give to the worms, and the worms create that amazing. It's a luxury organic fertilizer, is what they call it. So we put that, and we see it's a better reaction for the plant. So when the plant grows very well so nutrient dense, when you put all these nutrients available to the plant grows stronger and don't get sick that much. It's like we're having, right now you're seeing people with good defense are not getting sick that often of people with preconditions problems. So it's the same thing in plants. You nutrient the plant the right way, you give to the soil the right thing, you just not take out of the soil without giving anything back to the soil. We grow vegetable, we grow beans, we grow different kind of crops in order to incorporate those crops into the fields. So the fields have a lot of nutrients, a lot of biodiversity. So you grow that plant very well nurtured, it will not get sick that fast and that often. And with the blue mold, we also changed the growing season to the end of the growing season, when the temperatures start to rise and the humidity start to be higher, to be lower humidity. So you can avoid the biology of the fungi in order to don't have a lot of fungi to infect the plant. So doing those three big things we make it happen in order to increase our yield and increase the quality of the tobacco that we're growing.
Nestor, we had a quick question from Ian, and you know, as always, people, please bring all your questions up. We're always happy to.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And
thoughts.
thank you all of you guys that are with us this evening. It's a pleasure to talk to you all guys. It's a pleasure to see the passion that you have for the cigars, and keep enjoying life with great cigars. That's the best that we can do right now.
A quick question, Nestor, was I remember when I was at school learning about old-fashioned farming, where you would have 6 years of planting and then 1 year of letting the fields go fallow, where you didn't plant a crop. Do you ever do that, where you don't grow anything on the field?
Can you repeat the question? I don't listen that very well. Sorry for that, Ian.
I was saying that in the past, certainly in England, they used to have 6 years of planting and then 1 year of letting the fields stay fallow, they didn't grow anything that year. Do you ever do that? Is that part of your cycle of growing tobacco?
Yes, we do that. We do that, but mostly in the fields that have some infestation for black shank, which is another disease that is on the soil. So you have a bacterial disease. So when we have that infestation, we let that field to rest 2, 3, 4 years in order to that disease disappears. And we change the crop rotation, they call it. We put some beans, we put some corns. Right now we're experimented with the different kind of beans. Sunflower, we experimented with a marigold, which is another plant that we experimented this year. So we always try new stuff. But yes, we rotate the fields.
Many thanks for your question, Ian. Any more thoughts on that, or anything answered? I think Ian just froze. No worries. Nestor, speaking about terroir and the importance of soil, I mean, obviously you have different terroirs that you work with at Plasencia. Speaking of Honduras, Nicaragua, but it seems in particular Nicaragua is really the uber terroir that makes Plasencia what it is. What does that term terroir mean to you? And what elements would you say play a vital role in the overall sort of terroir that makes Nicaragua unique?
Very good question. That terroir is everything for a cigar. You know, when you want a brand connected with the blend, that is 100% of where that tobacco was grown, and the fact that we are 100% vertical integrated, that we know exactly from which soil we're harvesting these leaves and what happened in that soil and what happened in that microclimate, you know, make things more interesting for us. I always say that I'm so blessed that, for example, the cigar that you guys are enjoying, the cigar that I'm enjoying, I personally, together with a great group of people, I was witness of seeing that tobacco in the fields. So I know exactly how many days those leaves were when we harvest those leaves. How many days those leaves were in the curing barns. I was there myself, you know. I was there to see the fermentation process, you know, to see the temperature, how much temperature this tobacco would get in the fermentation piles and this and that. And I was there when they were making the cigars. So I was a witness from the very, very beginning to the last stages, you know, and now I have the pleasure to enjoy it. So when you talk about Nicaragua, you talk about, we call it, you know, the triad or the triangle of success, where you have the soil, where you have the microclimate, and the best of all, when you have the people, the know-how of the people, because you can have the right terroir, but not the know-how of how you take advantage of that. So when we care of all these three parts, we can have an amazing product, you know. And you have the blessing that is so different, the tobacco that is grown in Estelí compared to the tobacco that is grown in Ometepe, the tobacco that is grown in Condega, the tobacco that is grown in Jalapa. So we can create endless numbers of blends, even though in the same country. So there's endless possibilities of blending, trying new varieties as well, trying new type of soil, because in this type of soil, so different regions that we haven't explored, that we're making some tests as well. So that the future is endless. But the terroir is the number one thing, you know, because you have that soil, and which elements on that soil. I put a lot of I put a lot. That's why we call it from soil to heaven, you know, from del suelo al cielo, because it's from the soil to the heaven. When we're smoking the cigar, the smoke rises and we connected with the gods and everything. You know, it's a ritual. So it's so important that you take care of your soil, that you take care of the microfauna, you know, that is on that soil, the microorganism in that soil is what's going to give you the life of that soil.
You mentioned some of the classical origins within Nicaragua, and also that you're working on a couple of new developments there. Could you give us a brief rundown on what makes Ometepe, Esteli, Yalapa, different terroirs in Honduras and Nicaragua really particular and unique, and how do you factor those into your blends?
Yeah, we for example, we have a 100% blend of Nicaraguan tobacco in the Alma lines, in the Alma Fuerte, Alma del Fuego, and we have in Alma del Campo, those is 100% Nicaraguan. But I also in love with Honduran tobacco. Honduran tobacco has Jamastran. Jamastran is amazing tobacco that we use in the Cosecha 146, which is as an amazing number one cigar of the year, Cigar Journal. That was 2 years in a row. So we're very pleased to have that Honduran cigar of the year. So Jamastran has that sweetness and that strength at the same time, you know. So that's great, and it's very close to the border, you know. So it's more or less to the Nicaraguan border. Esteli is known for the rich and heavy clay tobacco. Jalapa sweetness, you know. Ometepe, you have the spices that you have. Condega is also a combination. It's not that strong, but it has a sweetness and a lot of flavor. And what we use, this is a very, very rough description, but what we're looking for in a tobacco is full flavor. Not full strength, but full flavor. You can have full flavor in a mild cigar, and you can have full flavor in a strong cigar. But full flavor is what we add. And how you can achieve full flavor, doing all the things that tobacco needs to be done on the fields, because it's where magic starts. It's on the fields, and we are in the fields. We put a lot of effort on the fields, because it's amazing to make a great cigar if you don't start with a great tobacco at the beginning.
Very much so. A couple of other questions that are pouring in. We had one from Raid. Always a pleasure to see our brother from Dubai.
Always a pleasure. Nestor, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Spending some time with you. Thank you for taking the time to share some of your knowledge, your amazing knowledge with us.
Thank you.
Look, it's, you know so much about the industry and the business. It's very difficult to point your finger at what we want to discuss. But the two questions I have are very much interlinked. I love your 360 approach to the entire industry. You've rolled cigars for the most amazing brands for the longest time. Then you came up with your own cigars that have rightfully so been winning a lot of awards and accolades. You've taken a lot of people under your wing, and you've created a lot of new brands and new cigar icons. You experiment on soils and new tobaccos like the organic one, etc., etc. My question is, what's your next best thing in terms of what you're doing? You obviously are always working on something. What's your next exciting project? And also, who's under your wing now? Who's the next brand or person that's going to graduate under the hands of Nestor as an explosion in the industry, and everybody wants to try that cigar?
Well, good question. What we're working in different how to say it, angles of everything. We're working in a new for some years now. and new origins. New origins that I cannot tell where we are, but it's a new origin that haven't been grown tobacco, never. I'm so excited for that origin that it's we're gonna see an amazing cigar coming to that pretty soon. You know, coming from that origin, a lot of percentage coming from that origin pretty soon. And we're working also.
Don't tell anybody. This is the confidential setup.
You will see. And we work also, and we've been working for many years with different varieties of tobacco. We're making hybrids, we're making crossbreds, we're making tests. You know, we've been doing this for many years, and we continue to do that because I think we have to be ready for any new disease that can happen, any new climate change that is happening. You know, adapted to the plants to new weathers and that kind of stuff, and also for new taste. So we've been working on that, and we continue to work that. We're working in different fermentation process, different time, different temperatures, working in a different kind of sensor so we can track the temperature faster, making tests and that in those aspects. New sizes, you know, we try to be creative in this traditional industry, like we did with the hexagons, the hexagon shaped cigar that we have in Almafuerte. That I'm so happy for. That is the number one seller out of that line for us. Yeah, so we're working in different aspects, and the question for who's gonna be the next people to graduate, you're talking about the private label that we do, is what you mean? A new private label that we started with?
Yeah, the private label or certain individuals that you have taken and have become your what's the word that they use? You know, there's a lot of brands of people that you've trained yourself and that you've gotten them into the industry.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them, and I see when I see passion in the people, you know, we're willing to help, and we are also very open to show people what we're doing and how we can improve, and we have a great relationship with all the main growers and the main manufacturers in this industry. So when I see passion and people who loves it, we're willing to teach, because I believe this is such an amazing industry. If we help each other, we're gonna expand the pie. You know, the pie is gonna be bigger for all of us. We don't work to have a huge piece of a small pie. I want a very small piece of huge pie. You know what I mean? And the way that we can create this huge pie, it would everybody produce the best that they can in the farming, in the fermentation, in the factories. And I think this is the best time ever in the cigar industry. There's amazing, great cigars in the marketplace, which is great, you know, because if I'm a new smoker, and I tried the first cigar in my life, I want that guy, whatever brand it is, to love that cigar in order to stay with us. And then eventually he will try one of our cigars, you know? So that's the way that we said, and we always think in how we can bring more people in this beautiful industry, how we can bring more people in that able to spend time with a stranger and not be afraid to go to a cigar lounge and be willing to talk, you know, and be willing to express himself, be willing to be respected of what they think. And I think that, as my father always said, that the cigar is a big unifier, you know, unite people together. And especially these days, you know, we've been thinking about what's going on in the world and all the stuff. And I talk to my guys, you know, we have a bigger responsibility right now, because people who's gonna enjoy our cigars, or the cigar that we make, or the tobacco that we've grown, are gonna spend some moment of their time trying to get the best that they can in that moment. So that moment have to be perfect. That moment have to be great. So we're helping the people to have a better time during these hard times and difficult times. You know, so it's a big responsibility that we feel.
Excellent. That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Rod, for tuning in. And Nestor, it's tremendous. It means so much to me to hear these positive words of yours, and that most positive and unifying approach that you bring to the table. Because ultimately, that's what every industry and what every business needs, is that unifying thought. If we all do better, we will take our entire industry to a new level, and we will bring in more people and share more of these wonderful moments and have an amazing outcome for everybody.
I know, man. I've been raised hearing stories about what cigars bring to people's life. You know, so the enjoyment, the great moments, the celebration moments that they had. One guy saved a cigar box, one of the private labels that we did many years ago. He saved it for 18 years. So when his first son was born, so when his son took 18 years old, he get that box out, the humidor, and enjoy that cigar with his son. And imagine that, it gives me goosebumps. And then when I celebrate the baptism of my child with the cigar that you make, oh my God, that's an amazing feeling.
Nestor, we have so many people complimenting you over on Facebook and saying hello from all ends of the world. I mean, we had people from Aruba and North Carolina and Sweden and Asia. So they're all so grateful to hear your words and very humble. It means a lot to us that we also get to connect you all with people from all around the world and have the global.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I'm very happy that the people are enjoying cigars, are enjoying their time. And let's bring more people in. Invite your friends to enjoy cigars. People don't know what they're missing when they don't have it, when they haven't tried a cigar in their life.
Definitely. Nestor, a special shout out. We had one gentleman watching over on Facebook, and he asked me to tell you he was there. David Blanco, he was a guest on the show a couple of days back. We had a tremendous session together, and he's also such a gentleman and has such a wonderful attitude. Guy. He's saying
hello. ¿Cómo estás, primo? I'm here as well, and I joined the Zoom meeting. I just want to say hello.
There you are. David, such a pleasure to have you. Welcome.
And I'm smoking a primo from my primo.
That's great.
So, gentlemen, I have a question for actually both of you, I guess, because there was somebody asking on Facebook whether you could tell us a little bit about the Hiram and Solomon project. And I guess you both were involved with that, right?
Nestor, yes. I brought Nestor the brand from a couple of brother Masons of mine. Eddie, we call him Eddie. His name is Fouad Kashouti, and his partner Nasir Dekrat, which we call George. And as brother Masons, they were looking to expand a Masonic-oriented or Masonic-themed cigar. And as a brother Mason, they came to me for help, knowing that I'm in the industry. And I do all of my work at the family's factory down there at the Plasencia factory. And so, of course, I brought them there, and baptism by fire. They learned everything that I could teach them in a short period, but we sat down and we blended the cigars to their tastes. But of course, as I mentioned in my interview, the Plasencia have the entire gamut of and color wheel spectrum of tobacco available, which is what makes them so special in this industry, that you can't go to another factory with the varietals and variation of material they have to work with. This is why all of such large companies work with them, and they can make such variety of tobacco cigars because of tobacco. And that's a testament to Nestor, his father, and of course the generations before him. Their farming is second to none.
Thank you very much.
Nestor, maybe a little follow-up question on that. How is it for you if for example, David comes to you with an idea or with a concept for a certain cigar, and then you're faced with the challenge of translating that concept into the actual product, into a blend and the vitola and the final cigar then. How do you approach that?
The approach is, we need a little bit of information, what kind of cigars you're looking for. I want a strong cigar with sweetness and hit of pepperly and this and that. So with that information, we go to our inventory of tobacco and we start actually try and error. This is the beauty of this. We try the cigars usually in 6x52, 6x50, which is a very, very traditional size. And then we start tweaking that blend in all the other sizes. And until we get it, sometimes David or other customers that we have, I have this blend in my mind. So you work it, you do it yourself. That's great. If you want our feedback, we're willing to help. But with the knowledge of the tobacco, with this tobacco that can give that specific hint of that specific flavor, we start to. But it's a try and error, man. Which is I love this. I love this because we have learned so much. You have a blend in your mind and see, you know, I love this tobacco. You try this tobacco by itself, and all the tobaccos are amazing. You put it together, and this is not something that I was thinking of. Or you have a tobacco that by itself is it's okay, but when you add it to other one, it like open up the old blend. So there's no secret formula. It's a try and error, and always experiment and try it and try it and try it and try it. You will never get bored. That's beautiful.
I love the way how you describe that approach. And, you know, I work as an experienced designer and all around multi-sensory experiences. I always say, like, you work with a database in your head of all these sensory impressions that you get. And it's like when you take a new tobacco and you smoke it pure for the first time, you sort of store the emotions and the perception in that database, right?
And I love it. You know what? Here we have, and you know that better than myself, something that influences your five senses at the same time. Wow. There's not a lot of products that can give you that, you know? So it's so fascinating. And you can never quantify this cigar, this specific taste, because have to be grown in the same place that is grown. So I'm not afraid of mass market productions in any country in the world, because they don't have the terroir that we have. They don't have the microclimate, and they don't have the people that we have in order to have this specific taste. You know, if you want another experience, so you go to other country, other places, which is good also. But this specific cigars, you can only have it from us. You know, which makes so interesting. And the smoke and the touch, you know, and the smell and the taste and the sound when you cut it, when you light it, you know, amazing.
I think that's also something that we could put a little more emphasis on, is to really create holistic experiences around cigars. You know, quite often, especially in our modern days and time, with the remote control of our life, everything's online, everything's digital, right? We could really tune in a little more with our senses again.
100%. So that's why I love farming. I love to go place where I don't have any signal. I love enjoy cigars on the outdoors. I love nature, so I get a lot of ideas from nature, and I see nature is our biggest teacher. From 3.8 billions, nature has been with us. So I love biomimicry. So you mimic nature, and those ideas that I have to go to nature and enjoy a cigar, calm, and get some fasting of technology, I call it.
We had a question from Abdo.
Hi, Maria. Thank you for hosting it. Hi, Nestor. Amazing honor to have you on. Thank you so much, Rodrigo. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
It's so positive, so refreshing to hear your focus on the collective importance of the industry, how we add value and create value for the industry. It's really positive. Great to hear that. What I'm interested in, Nestor, is walk us through kind of the thinking, the story. You've been making tobacco for generations. You've been growing tobacco, you make cigars for other amazing brands for generations. What was the trigger? What was the decision in terms of to get into make your own cigars? It would be very interesting to hear from you in terms of the thought process of the decision to say, now it's time to make our own cigars.
Good question. I have that in my mind for many years, and because I want to accomplish that the people, the final consumer, know the history of my father, my grandfather, all my ancestors, how hard they work, all the persistence, all the resilience, and all the passion that they have. You know, I want that story to be told. And I want that story to be told with a product make 100% for us. So that's why it's 100%. The tobacco that we use in the Plasencia line, it's something that we grow 100% of the tobacco, and we're in charge of 100% of that product. We charge of the blend, we charge of the tobacco, we charge of the marketing, we charge of the designs, we charge of the marketing that we do. You know, we're 100% in charge. When we do a private label, which is very blessed and honored to work with an amazing group of people. It's a combination of work, you know, that we work this together, but they are the one who design the marketing, the packaging, the designs and everything, you know, So that's up to them. We try to do their best for them. But this in the Plasencia line is 100% for us. You know, it's what we are capable, it's what we think is the best that we can produce, you know, for our own opinion, for the final consumer. And it's an amazing, you know, the excitement of creating something, it's fascinating. So you know, and I want the final consumer feel that everything that we learn, everything that we pass, that we've been through, is because we have to learn all the knowledge that we accumulated, and we're still learning. We don't say that we know everything about tobacco, because that will be the biggest lie. We can learn every day. We're learning every day in every crop, and there's so many things, new things that we can learn. But all the things that we have learned so far, we put it into a cigar that we're making. But I want the story of my grandfather, my father, to be told, and I'm very honored, and the responsibility for my generation, together with my sister and my brothers, is to tell the story and to make an homage of all these great people that have been working with us in the past.
That's great.
Perfect. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Many thanks, Apto. And we had a lot of comments on your beautiful backdrop. And for all of you guys watching, it's not a virtual background, that's the actual one. It's all real. Ian had another question.
Hi, Nestor. You talked about somebody keeping cigars until his son's 18th birthday. I had the pleasure last year to smoke 20-year-old Cuban cigars, which were very interesting. And I wonder if any of your cigars have ever developed over time in an unexpected way that you particularly have enjoyed. And also, are there any of your cigars that you think would be particularly good for keeping for a long time? I mean, sort of 10, 15 years.
Oh yeah, we always do that. We have a special place where we have old cigars to see how the cigars evolve with time, and it's a beautiful experiment to do. The best cigar that we've seen is been aging better is the Alma Fuerte, because of the component of that blend. You know, it's a lot of ligero in that blend, a lot of thick tobacco, so that aged perfectly. You know, every cigar when we started the blend to the time that we're smoking, it's amazing. And we're making the blend with tobacco that we have aged for a longer time as well. So we're seeing and we're tasting the tobacco aged by the bale, and then the tobacco already made. So that cigar for me is perfectly to wait and to age. And we had a set of tobacco cigars since the first batch, waiting and having in our inventory.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Would anybody else like to comment, David or anybody else, what their experience is with older cigars? Because I really enjoyed it. It was much more subtle and refined, and all the harshness had gone. It was just a great to have an old smoke. It's quite a different experience. A lot of, especially Nicaraguan cigars, are quite upfront when they're young, and I just would like them to get a little bit mellower, perhaps, as they get older and as I get older.
We get older together, but it's amazing what time can do to the tobacco. It's amazing, you know. So you never rush it. You never speed up the process. Take every process have their own time, you know. Every process have their own time, and you're patient, you're gonna be rewarded for that patience.
Thank you.
I don't know, David, if you have to add something more.
Well, quite frankly, when I had my discussion last week, I talked about the 4 links in the chain that the Plasencias have mastered and that I have focused myself on, which is the blending aspect. But the 4 masteries and links in the chain is the farming, which they are second to none, as we discussed. The fermentation is the second process, that it's its own expertise, and you have to have your own, experts doing that area. The blending is the third, which is where I focus my energy a lot of. And then the fourth is the rolling. The Plasencias have perfected as much as anything can be perfected in a handmade product than any, as can possibly be done. And Nestor, of course, has focused his energies and education on the farming, which bleeds over into the fermentation process, of course. And then because he works with that, he has also master blenders there, but he knows what he likes too. And because he has such intimate knowledge of the tobaccos that he grows, he knows what they taste like, the aroma, the combustion, how long it takes to ferment, and how to change those tobaccos in the fermentation process to get different things out of them. And then, of course, the rolling is impeccable. They've been doing it for years and years and years. If they can't roll a good cigar by now, they're in the wrong business. They've got it down. They've got it down.
We also have Filippo there. I don't know if Filippo wants to add something from Maya Selva Cigar.
Sincerely, I have nothing to add to all what Nestor Andres said. Besides, one thing that I would like to share with everybody is that every and each time we meet, we have the luck to share time with Nestor Andres, with Nestor, with his uncles, and all the people in the factory. It's a bless, sincerely. That's coming out of the heart. And all these feelings are resumed in the cigar that they allowed us to enjoy. So my deepest thanks for all your work, your knowledge, your passion, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's an honor, Filippo, to have you on the show, as always, and many thanks for your great comments. And I mean, that also speaks words that we have people from many different brands joining us, not just from all around the world, but really from all parts of the industry, different companies, and we all get together here, share a good cigar, and share some of our knowledge and experience.
That's beautiful. And I don't see it, a lot of industry have this blessing, you know, that we work together and talk and get along that well. It's a beautiful industry.
Yeah. Nestor, regarding the aging, I think there's two different aspects to consider when we talk about aging, and that is really the aging of the tobacco up front, and then the aging of the final cigar once it's rolled. Mm-hmm. How do you compare these two, and where would you put more emphasis on?
I love, to be honest, to age the tobacco before the cigar is made. Because when I make a cigar, I want the tobacco to be ready. You know, I don't want that you have to wait for that cigar to be enjoyed. You know, we put more energy in that. But you also have to age the cigar already made in order to that blend to get together and marriage that blend. You know, so there's a combination. It's two different things. But if you can combine both, the results are amazing.
Another question from Franca Comparetto. Many thanks for tuning in from Cigar Sense. It's great to have you.
Hi, Franca.
Hi.
Welcome.
So I'm finding this very interesting. I do have a question.
I cannot hear you very well. Sorry for that.
Okay, let me try and put up the volume here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Awesome. Okay, so you remember when I last interviewed you, Nestor, you were talking about the fact that you totally support the principle of the premium cigar being an intangible cultural heritage. Mm-hmm. And that is a concept that is very dear to many of us in the industry. Mm-hmm. Now, we were talking about Maya Selva earlier. From Honduras, she is actually reinforcing the achievement she had in the last years. She's continuing, you know, to commission studies to support an expansion of the recognition of the cigar as an intangible cultural heritage. Now, from a Nicaraguan perspective, is there any update that you could share in terms of how this is on top of mind, of course, in consideration of all what is going on? I mean, regulations, COVID-19, etc.
Yeah. No, this is something so important in order to have the certificate of origin and make cigars heritage for the countries where this is grown, which is for us is the most important thing. We were talking, we have a Nicaraguan Cigar Association that we were working in that respect. We're in a process to hire people to make all the paperwork and this and that. But then the political issue happened in Nicaragua and all these plans have to be postponed. when things start to getting easy is, you know, COVID-19 start. So, but it's something that is very important to us. Unfortunately, the timing hasn't been right, but it's something that we are really interested in as an association, as a country cigar association, to be in part and to be work hard in this regard. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. And Claudius Groy being the president of the Nicaraguan
That
Chamber.
we help big time. He's a great guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, if we take that consideration a step further, Nestor, one thing you're also very fond of is the whole social responsibility around your company. You really take care of your people so superbly well, and not just the people, but also the environment. How big of a role does that play for Plasencia and for you as a person?
Well, that's a very important role, because I'm a true believer that the best companies in the world are the companies that have the best human talent working in that company. I've been studying the best companies in the world for many years, and the big denominator that they have is they have the right people in that company. In order to have that right people in the company, you have to invest in those people, you know, in order to make those people better. And we invest a lot. We hired coaching, we hired companies that develop the talent that our people have and that all of us have, in order to make them work for a higher purpose. You know, we're not at a company that makes cigars. We're a company to make people's life better with the products that we make. So if you have all your people believing that, they're gonna do better. And what we talk to them, you know, I want you to be a better father, a better mother, a better member of the community, a better citizen of your country. And at the end, we're gonna have a better people working over here. So I don't say I want a better people over here that is gonna make a better father. So I want them from background, you know, so I want them to be one of the concepts of leadership that I love is how you can get the best out of your people, how you can make your people better, and how you can get better as a human being. So those are the things that we work. And the only thing is that they feel that's not just a speech, is that they can believe that with the results and with the action that we're taking. Daycare center for their sons, scholarships, co-op where they can save some money, trainings. We right now with the COVID, you know, I want they feel that we care for them. So we have the social distancing. We're making 2 shifts in the factory, even though we're sacrificing production. But that doesn't matter, because I want my people to be with the social distancing that they required. We have doctors that are talking to them twice a day in order to they can listen and understand it and take that knowledge to their homes. So all that kind of stuff, and also the environmental part is so important. Being as a farmer, I see in the changes that is happening. So I want to be able to grow tobacco for many, many more years. And the only way is that we plant trees, is that we take care of our soil, if we take care of organic material on the soil, and we do things that is gonna be for the long term, because we want to be in a company for many, many more years. And the only way is that when you have a long-term goals, not just short terms, have to be long-term goals in order to accomplish that. So that's very important for us. And thank you for asking that question.
And I guess also with your considerations of the organic farming that you had, that of course is one piece of the puzzle when it comes to environmental sustainability. Do you have any other mechanism in place in order to really, you know, have a more sustainable approach when it comes to farming and factory?
We have, and one of the things it's protecting your soil is one of the things that we're seeing, to have your soil covered when you have tobacco, incorporating organic material back into the soil. We added more organic fertilization, not just for organically grown, but for regular grown tobacco. So we add life back to the soils, and we have we bring a guy from India that it teaches us how to grow forests, 100-year forest in a 10-year time. So we've seen that, and the results are amazing. So we work with native species that is endemic from the area. We grow it in a different way. So the plants are growing so fast. Right now, I have 2 years and a half, and the growth, it's amazing. The growth rate, it's amazing. So we're doing that kind of stuff, and also planting trees all over the farms and all that kind of stuff. It protecting your water resources. We have a drip irrigation system that we can save 50% of the water, and all the, and also be very active and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
We also have a program that we give trees to our people so they can plant trees in their lands, in their homes, and that kind of stuff.
Beautiful. Nestor, I'm wondering, how did you sort of develop the work ethic that you're bringing to the table, and having that very open-minded, generous, and humble approach? Is that something that you really got from your family background and you just learned from childhood days on, or was it sort of your own ambition, your own aspirations and passion that led you to this path?
No, 100% come from my family. I was raised seeing that, even though in a very bad moments, when we have bad times in the 80s, we were blue mold, new country, very bad financial situation. I remember people approached to my dad and my mom, and they helped them with whatever they can help them with the people that work on our home. They pay the schools for the people, for their sons. So I was raised, and without telling me that you have to do this, you have to do that, I was learning from their example. And then when I start to get more involved, I want to expand that in a bigger sense. The situation, we've been better for us. So we said, we've been so blessed, so we have responsibility to share that blessing with a lot of people. So the best that we can do, and it's a blessing. You feel better, you feel happier, and it's kind of being selfish at the same time, because you get a lot of benefits out of that, helping people. So it's a very nice feeling.
We have a question from Mario. Great, you're joining us again.
Hi, Nestor. Nice to see you again. I got your favorite water, as always, here next to me.
Man, you guys are in the same time zone.
A question. Obviously, you are from Esteli, working in Esteli, helping the community, representing such a flagship product from your country. How does that feel?
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you feel to be so representative of all this? I mean, it's a heavy weight on your shoulder, but you guys
it's a heavy weight that we get it. We got it with a lot of joy and happiness. But the fact that I was born here and I was raised in Honduras, so that gave me a lot of sense of ownership and I seen the necessities of the people firsthand, so I don't need to see a documentary to see the poverty and to see the needs and all the stuff, because I'm seeing myself every day. So being that fact, and also have the responsibility with my work together with the amazing team that we have, that we can change that a little bit. Number one, supplying jobs to the people, to a lot of people, that we can supply jobs and they can be able to feed their families. And at the same time, I think one of the biggest problems in the world is lack of quality education. So when you can educate people, I think instead of giving something for free, you give education to the people, and these people can be knowledgeable they can be entrepreneurs in the future, they can be doctors, lawyers, and they can change the communities around them. So it's a long process, but I think it's the best process in the long term. And they can help people at the same time. When they get better in life, you can spread that good for everybody. So little by little, we try to do our best. And right now, with all these needs that you have, a lot of people without jobs, we're trying to help how we can help more people, and also supplying protective gear to doctors and nurses here in Esteli and Ocotal, in Jalapa, in the places where we have some companies and that kind of stuff. You know, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. It's gonna be harder, but we will do whatever, you know, whatever we can do to help the people.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you again here in London.
Thank you, Mario.
Thanks, Mario. Quick question from Cesare over on Facebook. Nestor, do you do botanical research only with your staff, or do you sometimes get some people from the university in, or some other experts that you could bring in externally?
We bring externally. We bring Eumélio Espino. Eumélio Espino is for me is the best tobacco genetist in the world. So we've been working with him for many years. So he comes many times in a year to come and see and work with new varieties of tobacco, new hybrids. We also work with universities in terms of products that we can use on the fields, and learn and see how we can experiment with different kind of cover crop rotations. And there's a lot of information that we always, and my people, the agronomists that we have, they're always eager to learn. We just hire a consulting company that is helping us to create a better compost with all the residues, especially using the tobacco stem. That I'm seeing the tobacco stem is being thrown away, which is a beautiful organic material. So we start to seeing how we can use that on fields, you know, in order to increase organic material on the soil. So we are very active on that, and we do it ourselves, but we hire people to help us in order to do a better job.
And we had another question from Marvin, and he was asking, since you made private labels for so many different companies and so many different people, do you have like a catalog of values and beliefs that these people need to bring to the table, or would you sometimes reject a project when somebody approaches you to do a cigar?
Oh yeah, we reject a lot of people. When I see, you know, I see some people have the passion for it, because that happened to us in the past when we learned the hard way, that love cigars, but don't have any clue about running a business. So that's a very hard combination, because if you have the passion, that's number one, but you need also some business skill or willing to learn, because when we have some cigars that we made, you know, and the people didn't take it because don't have the people who make the bands on, or you get tired of it or stuff like that. So we need to have people who have like a business plan already thought out, and seeing that are really doing a good job with those products that we're gonna sell to them.
Your family has been in the business for such a long time, and you've gathered so much knowledge and experience, yet you've only been manufacturing and producing your own cigars under the Plasencia label for a comparatively short amount of time. Mm-hmm. Why did you take so much time and so long in order to really perfect these products and then come out with the product Plasencia?
You know, there's always time for that's the right timing when we did it, you know, and we did it with in the hardest time in the industry, with the FDA coming and all the stuff. We said it, and I love, that was my dad quote. I said, you know, I've been through revolutions, I've been through blue mold, I've been through a lot of stuff. So FDA won't stop us to make this happen, you know? So when he said that, wow, I'm very, very proud of my dad. And but I think it was the right timing, Reinhard, because we've been learning. We have the blessing to work with the best minds in this industry. You know, you name it. You know, Henke Kellner from Davidoff, Daniel Nunez, Benjamin Menendez. We've been friends of the old Padron, Gilberto Oliva. So amazing people in this industry that I've been blessed since I was a little child, listening to their stories and their knowledge, making cigar for Maya with the passion that she had in this industry, Rocky, Alan Rubin, you know. So we've been learning from all these guys in seeing what they put this in the table. and all the things that we're learning, plus the knowledge in farming and seeing new varieties, new kind of soils, ways that we can produce the tobacco, put in the position to we can, this is the right time to do it. I personally want to do it earlier, but I think it was the perfect time when we did it, and everything happened for a reason. So.
Did you take a particular approach with the Plasencia cigars? I mean, from how I get to know you and your humble approach, I'm pretty sure that you take the very same super meticulous and perfectionist approach to every single product that you do. But how was that different doing your own cigar then?
We said, we have to separate the blend profile for the things that we make. Number one was the aging time. And number two, some different varieties that we use for our products, and especially the organically grown tobacco. Organically grown tobacco is in all the blends that we're using for under the Plasencia name, not 100%, but that tobacco that's just for our brands. So that tobacco is not available for any brand that we make. So in order to have those specific tastes and profiles of taste.
And we had a question regarding the names. Some people were asking for a little spoiler. Do you already have a next name in the Alma line in the pipe?
We're working on that. I cannot reveal anything now, but we're working on that. But I'm in love with the name, Alma, soul. So how you can touch, how we can light up our soul with the product that we make. Imagine that so strong, and how can we touch your soul? And the soil, soil and soul, very similar, and very, very, very happy for that.
Nestor, it certainly is the perfect match for your cigars, for
Thank you
sure.
very much.
A question from Valerie Bradshaw regarding the subject of irrigation. What are the advantages to drip irrigation for tobacco?
Drip irrigation.
Are there any pest problems associated with drip irrigation?
That actually help you in order to avoid pests, because what you do with the drip irrigation, there's a little drop that is always in the field. So you open for 6 hours irrigated or 8 hours, depends on the height of the tobacco. And what you do in order to have a less humid environment, which is good for blue mold, you just put that drop in the soil. So it's not in the leaves and stuff like that. So that also avoid you to have blue mold. And also having that, we put the fertilizer also over there, so the tobacco is more even, and the ripeness of the tobacco, it's more even as well. So it also helps you with the blends, because when you harvest the tobacco at the rain stage, so you have a better fermented and cured tobacco till the end. And we save 50% of water, so which is a big statement.
Another question from Ride.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I have to take advantage of the fact I have FaceTime with you.
Of course.
Nestor, thanks again.
My pleasure.
Look, there's no doubt, and obviously this is an industry thing and everybody says the same. Plasencia has unparalleled and amazing tobacco. And you've rolled so many cigars, as you have just mentioned, for so many phenomenal brands and icons of the industry. And then you came and rolled your own amazing cigars. So I can't help but to question what is more important, the fact that the quality of the tobacco, and it might sound like an obvious question, but what's more important in your opinion, based on the experience that the multi-generation experience that your family has had? Is blending more important, or the quality of the tobacco more important? The easy answer would be both. Fine. If it's both, how would you scale them?
I scaled 70% the quality of the tobacco. If you put me in that position to from 1 to 100,
yeah,
because it's impossible to blend. You can have the best blender in the world, but if he doesn't have the right ingredients, he can do anything with that knowledge. So for me, and we are tobacco growers first. That's our And I truly believe when you can grow the best tobacco out there, you can produce amazing blends. But you will never can produce amazing blends without having the amazing tobacco at the beginning. You know, so that's why we put a lot of efforts on the fields in order to produce the best tobacco that we can.
Okay, and do you see yourself between a rock and a hard place? And I'm sorry if I'm asking a very personal question. Do you see yourself between a rock and a hard place these days when you have this amazing tobacco that you have been aging for such a long time, whether you should use it for your own cigar or somebody else's cigar? Is it a tough call?
There's some tobaccos that we and our friends know that tobacco is just gonna be for our products, and we still, the beauty of this, that we have amazing tobacco for everybody, you know. So that's a great thing. You know, we make cigar for a lot of people, and we also grow tobacco for a lot of other manufacturers that they buy our tobacco and they blend it with tobacco that they grow themselves, or that they're buying for different growers. We just grow tobacco in Honduras, Nicaragua, a little bit in Costa Rica, and a little bit in Panama. We grow tobacco. And I know, and we haven't been, you know, why we're gonna go to Dominican to grow tobacco. There's amazing people growing tobacco already there, or Ecuador, you know. There's a great people that produce amazing tobaccos there, and they know the know-how of the people. They know the cultural. They know. One thing that we are willing to do is going back to Cuba to grow tobacco there. That's a dream that we have, and my father would love to see that as well.
I'm sure. That's great. Can I ask one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. In a blind tasting, would you know your own tobacco?
Good question. I think I can, you know, but this is so seeing that I can tell the tobacco that is grown for us in Nicaragua and Honduras. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, depends on the percentage of that blend.
On the advice of counsel, I recommend he not answer that question any further.
Well, depends how much percentage you put in that blend. You know.
Okay, fair enough. You see, my partner and I always challenge each other as to, we smoke the cigar, we're like, where do you think the cigar is from, you know?
I love blind tasting. I think we had our distributor in Switzerland. One of the stores that we sell in Switzerland, Manuel's. It's a beautiful shop in Zurich. He did a blind tasting. He took the Alma del Campo and put it together with different cigars from Cuba and all over the world. And they take the band, you know, the branding out of the cigar. And this cigar won against all the other cigars. So that for me, you know, is the best compliment that I can have. When the people, I'm very, very pleased with the ratings in magazines like Cigar Journal. I'm very happy for that. But the best compliment is the testimonials of the people when they tried our cigars. You know, that for me is the ultimate goal. What the people are thinking about the cigar that are enjoying from us.
That's amazing. Thank you. Can't wait for you to come to Dubai so that we can talk more.
That will be my pleasure. Or you come here to Nicaragua.
Oh, that would be my unbelievable pleasure. Can't wait till that happens. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
One thing I realized is, Nestor, you have a very well-composed portfolio within your own Plasencia cigar lines. Is that mostly due to the fact that you haven't been focusing on your own cigars for such a long time, and therefore it just takes some time to develop a bigger portfolio? Or would you really emphasize on that to keep a very narrow approach and have a well-composed offering?
Yeah, we think since the beginning that we want to have a different profile for different strength, different flavor profiles, and that kind of stuff. So we thought about it, and the new product that we're gonna be is what we're thinking on that. In order to have a range product, we don't get crazy to add a lot of new stuff pretty soon, because I think limited edition here and there we're gonna do that, and we have some products that are in the pipeline for that. But we're building icons, you know, it's what we try to achieve. We want to build icons that stay for a long term in this industry. So that's our goal.
Giuseppe Spiga was asking whether a Lancero could be part of the Plasencia portfolio soon, because actually it's his favorite shape, and I think that's the same for a lot of you know, the more experienced cigar smokers.
We have one Lancero Panetela in Alma del Fuego, so try that. You're gonna love that, and we have something that we tried for different lines as well that we might introduce in the future. But right now, for the time being, we do have it in the Alma del Fuego line.
And since we were talking about, you know, favorite cigars, do you have a special cigar in mind which you will never forget?
Yeah, I love them all. It's like when you love your child, you know, you love your child's the same. But the cigar that is my number one cigar since I started in this industry is the Reserva Original, the Plasencia Reserva Original, which is the first cigar that I came out myself. And I was part of that since the very beginning, and I'm very grateful for that project because it helped us to grow a better tobacco in all the plantation that we have. So that's always on my mind, and I'm very proud of that cigar.
Perfect. Wojtek had another question.
Yes. Hi, Nestor. Great to see you.
Nice
Thank
seeing
you. It was an amazing trip to Honduras, Nicaragua. There was no time to visit more factories. It was a short time.
Yes,
I was very happy to meet you at the factory. Excuse me?
You owe me a visit to our Nicaraguan factory.
I will come. I have a question. Just as you said, tobacco is in your blood. You are like a king of tobacco. For many generations, your father, grand, and grand, etc. But thinking about the whole process, you are just responsible right now for the tobacco fields, for the crops, for the whole process, and also further for the cigars you do for the others and also for yourself. How do you feel personally? You are more responsible. You feel master of tobacco or master of cigars? How is it? How does it play in your personal weight? Let's say, because
right now,
you said, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Right now, I'm spending more time on the factories than on the fields. So I'm more responsible for the cigar production and the Plasencia brand itself. So that's what I spend a lot of my time. But I go to the farms. It's a teamwork. You know, my father. I have the blessing of my father. Is still 200% involved in everything that we do. So he's mostly on the farms. But we are. You know, it's a family business, and you know how this is. That everybody has a saying over here and there. So we help in every aspect. We are mostly in every aspect. I go to the farm every day because I love the farming, and I know there's a lot of things that we want to incorporate it and implement it and all the stuff. So we work in everything. But for the time being, I'm most responsible for the factories and the Plasencia brand itself.
So it means that you know everything about tobacco, and right now you're just learning more and more every day how to make great cigars.
Yeah, but I always on the farms. I always on the farm. My heart is on the fields. I'm a farmer. But you know, in a position, let's put it in position. On paper, I'm more responsible for the factories than in the farming. But you know, we have to do everything in a family industry, and I love it. Everything. I love every aspect.
So 100% in fields and 100% in the factories. So this is 200%.
Percentage wise, 60 factories, 40 fields. Let's put it this way.
60-40.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Apto, fire away.
So, thank you. One more question. So, So Nestor, you've talked a lot about, obviously, this is an industry that's 100% man-made, right? This is an industry that one of the few industries left in the world where everything's done by hand. You've done obviously done a lot of research on seeds, on the organic tobacco, on stuff. What role do you think technology has in this industry, right? If you want to stay relevant, if you want to evolve, technology is important. So what role do you think technology has in general in this industry?
You know, I'm most traditional. You know, I love the old ways to do things, but I know that technology can help us to do a better job, and especially on the fields. You know that, like, for example, the drip irrigation system that we installed. You know, that's part of because we have computerized the way that we put the fertilization and all the stuff. Sensors on the field that can sense the humidity on the field, so they can help you to irrigate better. Don't over irrigate the fields or less irrigate that. Sensors on the curing barns that can track the temperature and humidity, so you can have a better curing process and that kind of stuff. So I'm open-minded to add technology, but not in an extent that a robot or a machine will make my cigars. That will never happen. You know, I want that human touch that is the basic of this. But I'm open-minded to try new things in technology, in computers, softwares, and that kind of stuff that can help us do a better job, for sure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
We have a great question from CP, our gentleman over at Bespoke Unit. CP, it's a pleasure and honor to have you on the call.
It's a pleasure to be here, Reinhard, and it's wonderful to see you again, Nestor. It feels only yesterday that Roy, I think Andreas is here as well, and Paul fortunately couldn't make it. We were at the factory back in January to see you.
Yes, yes. One of the last visitors that we had. We had an amazing time.
Oh, it was wonderful. Treasured memories, especially riding your beautiful horse.
Yes, I was going to say that. You had a nice picture on the horse.
Sorry?
You had a very nice picture on the horse.
Yes, yes. I'm planning to print that out and frame it and put it in my study.
That's great.
I have a quick question, because one thing that really blew me away when we visited was seeing the primary school. You talked about medical centers, and as well the church that I believe was designed by your brother, who's an architect.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know, you probably did tell us this back in January, but what future plans do you have in supporting your community?
Yeah, there's always, we just opened a new daycare center in Jalapa. So education is one of the big part of what we try to do. So we just opened it, and unfortunately we don't have the kids right now because of the situation right now. But we work with the teachers to train the teachers better during this time, to take advantage of that free time that they have, so they can get better when they open it. And we also working with WhatsApp. Send them homework for the kids during these days so that people can have it. We printed some that we send it to the parents that are working with us right now. So education is going to be a part of what we do in terms of helping our people. And we just opened that new one in Jalapa. So, and we have plans to open more in the future in different locations.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear. That's amazing and beautiful work.
Thank you very much. We're very happy and the results. You know, when you see the kids when they started very shy and then they get to talk and say hello and everything. That's beautiful.
And will these new schools be following the same education model? What was the name of the education model that you're using?
Montessori education system.
That's it. Yeah.
Which is learning by doing. You know, it's teaching the kids where they have their natural intent, what interests that they have. So we focus on that, on the natural interest. It's not a fixed system. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to mute myself again because I see there's loads of questions streaming through. So thank you very much, Nestor.
A pleasure.
Thanks, CP. Nestor, I know for a fact you're a big Tony Robbins fan. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I like him.
Ever had a chance to meet him?
I've been in two live seminars with him. So we hire a Tony Robbins coaching for our people here as well. And I think, you know, I like the approach, you know, hands-on approach to develop your team and having raving fans, he said, on your consumer base, but especially on your people first, so they can make raving fans all over. So I'm very him, and I follow a lot of great business leaders also, you know, that can teach, that we can learn from them. Amazing.
Did you had any key takeaways from the sessions that you attended?
Yes, you know, the big keys that I take is invest in your people. You know, that's the best thing that you can have. You have motivated, happy people working with you. Man, there's a few companies that can compete with that, and you can put yourselves apart because the people are motivated or have a sense of ownership of everything that they do. So we do this, you know, weekly meetings, and how we have what we think, what we want to achieve, and also listen to your people. They have amazing ideas that if you do it by yourself, you can loosen on huge opportunities, you know. And especially these days, we're trying to take the best out of the biggest companies in the world, and the most important companies in the world. Not the biggest, the better companies in the world. They were created in the crisis time, in the Great Depression, you know, in the financial crisis. And so, you know, they say, you know, never lose an opportunity in a crisis. So what our biggest question right now is what we're gonna learn from this crisis to get better.
I couldn't agree more, and such a valuable thought that you share with us here, that really it's all also in challenges and in defeat where we'll learn a lot, and you got to fall, stand up again, and really try to do your best and be your best every single day.
Yeah, exactly. And compete with yourself, you know, not compete to anybody else. You're your biggest competitor. So compete with yourself, and that the rest is history.
Amazing. Bayat had a comment or a question.
Hi, sorry, I can't turn on my video. There's a problem with it. Thank you, Reinhard, for arranging this, and Nestor for your time. A quick question. You mentioned that it's your and your father's dream to go back to Cuba and grow cigars there. So my question is twofold. First, what would you differently there? I know you have, you know, your roots are there. So in terms of cigar, and what do you think you can achieve? And have you thought about, you know, what kind of blends or the final tastes would you get when you blend Cuban leaves with non-Cuban leaves?
Good question. I think all the things that we have learned in all these years are the things that we want to implement over there, you know, especially taking care of your soil and take the time when the tobacco is ready, use that tobacco. You know, those are the things that we're willing to do. And especially we want to go to where my father is originally from, Vuelta Abajo, San Luis, Pinal del Rio. So that's the place that we wanna go and grow tobacco first, and then make great cigars out of that tobacco. So that's the thing that we want. And I also want to work and blend Nicaraguan, Honduran, Cuban tobacco to see how the result's gonna be.
Yeah, we would all love to see that happening.
Yeah, we're interested to do that, but when the time is right. When the time
Absolutely.
is right.
Inshallah.
Wim had Nestor, Wim is very fond of your ashtray that you have.
I see it I see it in the lower right corner, so it's to your left behind you, Nestor. And since I'm from Belgium, and well, you know, I don't really have a connection with the brand on the ashtray. I'm interested in how you acquired that.
Oh, we acquired the idea for the ashtray.
No, the ashtray that's standing right behind you there. The J. Cortes ashtray.
Let me see where I have it.
The black one behind you, there, right there.
I
Yes.
saw it. We are very good friends of Fred and all the people.
Okay.
Amazing people. And this actually was one of the first visits that they did before they did the investment in Oliva.
In Oliva, yeah.
So I love these guys. I love their business approach. Beautiful people. I know Guido. I know Fred. I know all these guys and amazing people. I know Anik, Fred's wife, and their family. I have the pleasure to spend some time together with them here in Nicaragua and also in France, in Belgium as well, in Cortic.
That's a nice story. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Since you're like the organic project is so close to your heart, Nestor, I know that at the very beginning, I think it was called the Plasencia Reserva Organica, right? Before the name was changed to the Reserva Original. Is there a particular reason why you changed the name on that line?
Yes, we changed it because of the regulations in Europe. We cannot use organic name in any cigar brand because they said it's gonna be perceived as a healthier product. So they make us change the name. And I said, you know, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it for all the lines. So then we're gonna be explaining the history of the cigar. So that give you an opportunity to talk about it, you know. So, but it's a shame. It's a shame because I really love the first name.
And a question that we get an awful lot is of course regarding the new FDA regulations that will be in effect later on this year. Do you see any dramatic changes for your operations and business immediately as well? How do you deal with that change in the regulation?
You know, we are very well suited for that because we've been growing tobacco in the same places for many, many years, and we've been making cigar for many, many years as well. So we have a lot of predicate blends portfolio. So we did our homework right. So, you know, one of the reasons that we've been so old company that may have those benefits. Yeah, but it's a shame, you know, it's a shame when you see all these regulations because I love the way for creativity for the new people bring to the industry with ideas, packaging, and something that we never thought of. And you have people that are very successful with these new ideas and can attract new customer base for this beautiful industry. So it's a shame.
Would you say that it's easier for a bigger corporation like yours to deal with such new regulations and restrictions in comparison to some of the smaller companies?
Yeah, it's easier because you have blends and sizes prior to 2007. You know, it's not the size. I think is the time that you've been around. Is what makes you have a better position. But I don't want to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Because I love the creativity and I love the openness to bring people that makes it easier to new people to come in. I don't see it as a competition. I see it as an ally. You know, as a friend that is going to add new customer base.
Absolutely, yeah. Nestor, this is such a wonderful conversation, and we had so many fantastic questions and people tuning in from all over the place. I mean, as we always say, time flies when you're having fun, right? We tremendously treasure your time and that you take time to sit down with us and share all your experiences and your thoughts. I would just like to take a moment and let all our viewers and people know the schedule for the week ahead of us, because we kicked things off tremendously well. Actually, yesterday when we had Alex Berezovsky on the show for an amazing special feature, such an inspiring young gentleman, and then of course an absolute highlight today, Nestor Andres Plasencia on the show. But we have another highlight on Friday because we have Carlito Fuente joining us for a great session. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And please make sure that you all tune in again. And on Sunday, we'll close the week with Sean Williams from Cohiba. So a truly exciting schedule ahead. Nestor, before we wrap things off, I have a final question for you, and it sort of brings us back full circle to where we actually started. You were born in Esteli, and I can imagine back in the days, that was a much different place in comparison to what it is right now. What does it mean to you to see the evolution and all the change for good that has happened within Esteli, but of course other parts of Nicaragua and Honduras, mostly due to the premium cigar industry?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing feeling. You know, when you see your hometown develop for the better in a industry that hires a lot of people and bring economic benefits to the places. It's amazing feeling, you know. So for me, every time that I have the privilege to travel all over the world and to be an ambassador of my country, of my own city, it's an amazing feeling that I feel a little bit part of it, and also that the people can relate to Nicaragua and to Estelina in a better way, not in a bad news that, you know, that especially in the world, you know, people love bad news. So I want to be an ambassador of great news. And I see, you know, it's amazing feeling. Thank you for asking that.
Wonderful. Great to hear. Del suelo al cielo, right? From soil to heaven. Nestor, if you could sort of raise one wish, or if you would have one wish for the continued success and for the evolution of Plasencia as a brand, Plasencia as a family, and for you personally, what could that be?
That wish will be that more people that don't know what cigar industry can offer to them, they realize all the benefits of this beautiful industry. And I dream a world with not so many regulations about enjoying a cigar. So we will work hard no matter what, you know, no matter the regulation, no matter what is going on. We do our best in order to supply the best product that we can make for you guys, because all of you guys deserve the best, you know, because you work hard in life. And if we can be a small part of you guys have a better life moments, you know, I will say that we accomplish our goal. So those are the things that I'm looking for.
Wonderful. I'm humbled and most grateful, Nestor, for everything that you shared with us tonight. Thank you so much for everything that you do and for being on the show tonight here at Light 'em Up. Many thanks. All the very best to you and your family, and may our paths meet again soon. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you. It's amazing what you're doing. And guys, keep enjoying life. Keep enjoying great moments with great cigars. Thank you very much.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.